Okay, I'm continuing my reading here, and what I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in chronological order according to events, not according to publication or volume. So I will be jumping around just a little bit. I am currently reading in Exodus. This will be chapter 10, and this chapter does contain portions of the Joseph Smith translation. And what this is it is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore those portions that had been lost over the years. So, let us get reading here. Exodus chapter 10. The Lord sends plagues of locusts. This is followed by thick darkness in all Egypt for 3 days. Moses cast out from the presence of Pharaoh. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, that I might shew these my signs before him. Okay, here's our first Joseph Smith translation. He corrects this verse. Should say, here we go. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go in unto Pharaoh, for he hath hardened his heart, and the hearts of his servants. Therefore I will show these my signs before him. So once again, as I pointed out in these last few chapters, Joseph Smith corrected this so that the blame is squarely on Pharaoh. He hardened his heart. God didn't do it. But I find this one particularly interesting where it says, He hath hardened his hearts and the hearts of his servants. So he is also causing his servants to reject Moses and reject and not want to let the people go. Now, they may just be following him because he's Pharaoh, but it does somewhat indicate that they are agreeing with him here. So, verse 2. And that thou mayest tell in the ears of thy son, and of thy son's son, what things I have wrought in Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know how that I am the Lord. And Moses and Aaron came in unto Pharaoh, and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, How long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow will I bring the locusts into thy coast. And they shall cover the face of the earth, that one cannot be able to see the earth. And they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field. And they shall fill thy houses, and the houses of thy servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen, since the day they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh. And Pharaoh's servants said unto him, How long shall this man be a snare unto us? Let the men go, that they may serve the Lord their God. Knowest thou not yet that Egypt is destroyed? And Moses and Aaron were brought again unto Pharaoh, and he said unto them, Go, serve the Lord your God. But who are they that shall go? Okay, let's just pause for a minute. They come in and they say, Look, let us go, or we're bringing the locusts, and they will destroy everything that's left. There's going to be so many locusts, you won't be able to see the ground. They're going to eat all what's left of the plants. Everything's going to be gone. And when they leave, Pharaoh's servants are saying, Look, we can't take it anymore. Egypt is ruined. Our whole empire is destroyed because you won't let these guys go out into the desert to make a sacrifice. And so now Pharaoh's bringing him back in. And he's saying, okay, but let us hash out the details here. This way, say, who will go? Let's hash out these details. So verse 9. And Moses said, We will go with our young and with our old, with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds will we go, for we must hold a feast unto the Lord. And he said unto them, Let the Lord be so with you, as I will let you go and your little ones. Look to it, for evil is before you. Not so. Go now, ye that are men, and serve the Lord, for that ye did desire, and they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. So what Moses is saying, we're all going with all of our possessions so that we can have this feast. And Pharaoh's saying, wait, if I let you all go, you're just going to run away. Evil is before you. And according to the footnotes, a Hebrew idiom meaning you are bent on mischief, meaning you're not telling the truth. You're going to go out there, you're going to run away. So let the men go, but the women and children have to stay behind. And then Pharaoh sends them away. Says, you go, men, you go, but women and children have to stay. Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day, and all that night, and when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and rested in all the coasts of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall such be. For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened. And they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field through all the land of Egypt. Now this was a whole pile of locusts. But right here we have that little footnote here. That coasts, it says in all the coasts of Egypt. Now the modern day coast, in general, we use to refer to where the water meets the land. You know, there's the east coast and there's the west coast. But in the King James Bible, the word coast generally just means border. And so when it says in all the coasts, it means within the whole border of Egypt. The entire land of Egypt is being covered by these locusts. So, verse 16. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God, and against you. Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat the Lord your God that he may take away from me this death only. Then he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord. And the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts, and cast them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the coasts of Egypt. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go. And again, Joseph Smith translation on that verse 20, but Pharaoh hardened his heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go. Again, putting the blame for this on Pharaoh. Pharaoh comes, look, it's more than we can. You're destroying us. We're all dying. Please end it, and I'll let you go. They end it, and he says, never mind. We're not going to let you go. I think this is the 5th time he's done this. So we're seeing a pattern. As God said, he's going to have to do such devastation in Egypt that Pharaoh himself is going to drive Israel out. Not just tell them they can go, but they're going to chase them out. And we will see that in the coming chapters. Verse 21, And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over all the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses, and said, Go ye, serve the Lord, only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. And Moses said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not an hoof be left behind. For therefore must we take to serve the Lord our God, and we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come thither. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more, for in that day thou seest my face, thou shalt die. And Moses said, Thou hast spoken well, I will see thy face again no more. So what's going on here? Now this is a darkness. This is a darkness that could be felt. This is much like in 3rd Nephi. You had the destruction of 3rd Nephi, and you had this vaporous darkness that prevented any kind of fire from being lit. But it is only in Egypt. The land of Goshen is untouched. They have light. This vaporous darkness is only in the land of Egypt. This separation of Egypt and Israel is very important, and really, again, as I say, it's the banishing of the plagues that is the real power. But the separation of Israel from Egypt, where it's only on Israel, this focused plague, is actually just as significant as the banishing of plagues. Oh, sorry. Something in my eye. But you got this thick, vaporous darkness, and Pharaoh, he gives in a little bit. He says, fine, all the people can go. Before he said just the man. Now he says all the people can go, but leave the animals behind. And I love what Moses says here. This is just kind of, remember this whole thing. Let us go and have a feast, and we'll be okay. No, the plan is always to continue on to Canaan. But this was a little subtle trickery that they were trying to get Pharaoh to give into. And then I like this is, you go and just leave the animals. Well, we got to take the animals because we got to make sacrifices. And apparently, Pharaoh said, well, just take the ones you need for the sacrifices, leave the rest. Moses, we don't know which ones we'll need. God will tell us which ones we need when we get there. So we got to take everything just to make sure that we don't leave the right ones behind, because God's not going to tell us which ones to sacrifice until we get out there. So I like this. It's not exactly a subtle trickery, but it's kind of funny how Moses is putting this plan together. Finally, again, Joseph Smith translation, verse 27. Verse 27 says, But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. And again, Joseph Smith has corrected this to say, But Pharaoh hardened his heart. So then finally, that last verse, Thou hast spoken well, alternate Hebrew says, As you have spoken, I will see thy face again no more. So this is Moses agreeing, saying, no, we're not going to see each other again. So, anyways, that is, the plague of darkness is one that did the least damage, but it probably was the scariest one, quite honestly. It says that nobody got up from that nobody rose from his place for 3 days. They all sat in bed, or they sat where they were when the darkness started for 3 days. Nobody even dared to move because of the darkness. They could feel it around them. That just sounds terrifying, but we'll see you in the next one.